Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 2023 HME Woman of the Year Award. I'm Krista Meehey, President of Corporate Communication and Events for VGM Group, and it's my great pleasure to be your host this afternoon. We've had some exciting announcements recently at VGM Group. Just this week, we've shared that the new president of VGM and Associates, our membership group for home medical equipment providers, will be filled by Lindy Tettinger, an accomplished female leader who's been leading VGM's web services company, VGM Forbin. As we're celebrating and recognizing the women who have made increasingly significant contributions throughout their careers in the HME industry, it seemed a perfect time to get to know a little more about Lindy.
Well, thank you, Krista. I'm thrilled to be here live today in our studio for this important award. It's something that I look forward to every single year, and it's just so great to honor the top female leaders in HME. And I'm also looking forward to serving as president of VGM and Associates, which is VGM Group's original and longest tenured business unit. I'll be the first female to hold that title, as well as joining VGM Group's senior leadership team. So it's something I'm extremely honored and excited to do.
Well, we're glad to have you. And Lindy, I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about your career journey and why you're passionate about HME.
Yeah, of course. I started VGM 6 years ago. So those who know about the 6-year thing, that means you're 100% vested employee owner. So that was a huge accomplishment for me this year. And I started out in VGM and Associates as in charge of marketing and communications. So it kind of feels like going home, going back to Associates. And I've spent the last 3 years leading VGM Forbin. Prior to VGM, I worked for a global BPO, and I was in charge of creating global brand awareness. I was in charge of selling and servicing multiple business industry verticals, including healthcare, financial services, federal government, to name a few. So I've been around the block a little bit in the B2B world, excited to be in healthcare, specifically HME. It plays such an important part of the healthcare continuum, and not enough people know about it, and not enough people know about its importance. And so being able to get back into a VGM and Associates and advocate for the industry and for our member providers, our vendor partners, the entire industry just means a lot to me, as I know it means a lot to our families. It means a lot to us individually. So I know that it's an important role, and it's something that I take very seriously, and I'm ready to hit the ground running.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the team, Lindy, and I'm confident that there's a bright future ahead, not just for you, but for all of our HME members and our vendor partners too. We have a great program for all of you today, featuring a presentation from Tracy McCausland, a notable Gallup certified strengths coach, as well as, of course, the big announcement of this year's HME Woman of the Year. But first, let's meet our 4 finalists.
So we have 4 amazing finalists this year, and as every year, it's such a big deal to get through this process and be a finalist. So if you know these 4 women and want to reach out to them and say congratulations, please do so, because it is a true honor to be in this realm. So here are the 2023 HME Woman of the Year Award finalists: Deb Holman of Hart Medical, Dana McLaughlin of Medical Service Company, Jamie Tharp of Choice Medical, and Heather E. of Brightree.
We received nominations from across the HME industry, including providers, manufacturers, and association executives, among other professionals. The finalists were selected based on criteria that included implementing new business processes, advocating on behalf of the industry, improving the lives of patients, and impacting their community through volunteerism. Each of these 2023 HME Woman of the Year finalists is an impactful leader within our industry. Their dedication truly makes a difference, and all of them deserve to be recognized for their outstanding achievements.
So true. But before we learn from our speaker and unveil the big news, this year's winner, here is Jeremy Stoltz. Jeremy's the current president of VGM and Associates and VGM Fulfillment and incoming VGM Group CEO.
That's a mouthful. Right?
Yeah, kind of a big deal. He's here to talk about the HME Woman of the Year Award and the important role that women play in our industry.
The HME Woman of the Year Award was created in 2015 to honor the incredible dedication that women have to the home medical equipment industry. It recognizes women who lead in a variety of ways, whether it's being an innovator in the profession, sharing their expertise with their peers, or their devotion to helping others. Now in its 8th year, VGM Group is proud to sponsor this award that recognizes a woman who has made increasingly significant contributions throughout her career to her company, community, and our industry. We're thrilled to introduce you to this year's 4 finalists for the 2023 HME Woman of the Year Award, one of whom will join the ranks of impressive past winners like Sherry Krug of Benson's Medical Equipment and Supplies from 2022 and Katie Stevens of Reliable Medical Supply from 2021.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce you all to one of the first Gallup certified strengths coaches in the Midwest, an impactful female leader, cancer survivor, and mom of 2, Tracy McCausland.
All right, thanks, Krista. Let's get the party started. I'm excited to be here with everybody, and thanks to Krista, thanks to VGM for inviting me to share a message with you. It's really an honor to be here with all of you joining us live and watching the recording, and super impressed by the 4 nominees and all of your accomplishments and contributions that you've had to the industry and your communities. So I realize there's certain times of year where we pay more attention to time, and year end happens to be one of those. So today, take a few deep breaths, exhale a little bit. We're going to have some fun. We'll do a little bit of learning, but we'll stick with that theme of 4 since we have 4 awesome nominees for this program. All right. All right, so let's get in the framework of a leader. I want you to think about what leaders have the most positive influence in your daily life. This can be somebody you've worked with, somebody you've worked for, somebody you volunteered with in your community, but somebody you know, so not like Oprah Winfrey, okay? When you've got that person in mind, either write down their name or their initials. Part 2, go ahead and list 3 words that you would use to describe what this person contributes to your life. What 3 words come to mind for you? If you're joining live, go ahead and throw some words in chat. I'll give you 15, 20 seconds to kind of brainstorm on this. Okay, so congratulations, you all have just completed a Gallup poll. These are the exact 2 questions that Gallup asked years ago to 10,000 people. They asked 10,000 people to list these 3 words, so technically they should have had about 30,000 words. And then Gallup is very well known for asking good questions, for data and research. And the really smart scientists there whittled 30,000 words down to just 4. See where we're going here, this theme of 4? All right. So these 4 words that they came up with are highlighted, and they go into a lot more detail in a great book called Strengths-Based Leadership. The book was published in 2008. So it feels like a little bit old, but I like to call it an oldie but a goodie. In fact, in 2020, when people were scrambling and looking to leaders, Gallup was one organization to speak up and kind of say, time out, we have this great framework from 15 years ago, revisit it. So the 4 key characteristics or qualities that 10,000 people say that we need from our leaders are trust, compassion, stability, and hope. We'll walk through those really quickly. If you ever want to learn more, snag the book. All right. So trust. That one probably doesn't come as a surprise to you, but other words that people listed, or maybe you were even thinking, were things like honesty, integrity, authenticity, being genuine. We want to work for and with and beside leaders who are real. We don't need to know everything about them. They don't need to know everything about us, but we want to know that they're human, that they've got strengths and they've got challenges just like the rest of us. Obviously, when you've worked on teams where things are just clicking and you work with leaders that you trust, things move quicker, they're more efficient, more productive. One surprise that came out of this book was that on teams where they're knocking it out of the park, people didn't really talk about trust. It was just there. Whereas teams where the data showed not just people talking, but that there were challenges, struggles, issues, those are the teams that talk about trust, especially a lack of trust. All right. The next one is compassion. So my background's in HR. I have the top certification you can have from SHRM, the National Organization on Human Resources. There's a lot of fancy frameworks out there around leadership and the qualities and characteristics that organizations identify or develop in their leaders. Compassion is probably not a word that's on most of them, but hang with me. The word I like to use instead is caring. Again, we want to work with and for people who care about us. We want to know that they care about our careers, our progress, our development, our goals, and our challenges. Other words people use were, friendship, happiness, and even love. But the quote I'll highlight here from the book actually came from a CEO of a huge global bank. But that's less important than what it says, and that for people to truly love an organization, it needed to have a heart. And this is where I want to recognize VGM. If we were to do a Gallup poll right here in Waterloo, Cedar Falls, the Cedar Valley, and other communities that VGM touches, absolutely one of the things that people would say is that VGM cares. The next one is stability. And other words people use were things like strength, security. These are leaders that are clutch. And I think, again, to 2020, these would be leaders you could turn to during times of need. Sometimes I think about this, C's. These are leaders who give us confidence, calmness, and clarity. In the words of one of my favorite female researchers and authors, Dr. Brene Brown, she simply says, clear is kind. A little statistic here is when employees have confidence in the financial stability of their organization, they are 9 times, I just had a Ferris Bueller moment, sorry, when the principal says 9 times, okay, I didn't practice that, but anyway, 9 times as likely to be engaged at work, which is huge. Now, you may not be the CEO or the top of your organization, but you can still provide transparency to people. What does the project look like? What are things working on your team, your department, your division? Are there data, statistics, timelines, information that you can give people, again, to help give them that sense of calm and clarity? I've got a hunch that Mr. Mike Malero provides some pretty good stability here at VGM. All right, and the fourth one is hope. Also, probably not a word on many HR competency frameworks when you think of leaders. But if you think of words like direction and guidance, those are words that maybe you even wrote down when you had that one leader in mind for you. We're kind of greedy. We want to be happy right now, and we want to feel good about the future, right? We've got a lot of demands and requests at work, and it makes sense when you're following somebody who gives you hope, you feel that inner confidence in their leadership style. With this one, I get personal and think about my sister. My sister's about 4 years younger than me. Her name's Carrie, but growing up in a small town in Iowa, everyone called her Bear, like the Care Bears from the 80s. My sister is a co-director in the ICU of the Children's Hospital of Kansas City. And she is a leader of the ECMO team, which is essentially, from an HR person's perspective, heart-lung machines. The data shows when you hit ECMO, you have a 50-50 shot at survival. And their team there at the Children's Hospital of Kansas City last year was about 70%. She's doing great work. She's doing hard work. It's tremendous what our healthcare providers deliver for us as patients and parents and family. And in the beginning of 2020, when things went awry for the world, and very much so, ultimately people in healthcare, something hit me months after that from my sister. And she said, once we had started scheduling time to see each other months and months later, she said, you know what, I just need something to look forward to. And that's something that I think we all do, right? And sometimes with leaders, if we think about visionaries and people that are really strategic, we don't always need to see 2030, you know? Sometimes we just need to see next month or next week, all right? And so that's the last of those 4 needs of followers. So now I want to kind of transition a little bit into sharing a couple quick stories about my kids. Now, I can't see all of you, but I'm sure a few of you rolled your eyes, but hang with me here. All right, we've got 2 boys, like Krista said. Jay is 15 and a freshman and just started driving a car on his school permit last Thursday. Okay. This is a picture of Jay actually in 5th grade when he was 10. At his school, they follow Stephen Covey's Leader in Me program, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders. This was a day they kind of did like a career day, but they showcased different leadership opportunities at his school. Well, one of the leaders of the Leader in Me program locally used to be the principal at his elementary school. I know her as a friend and colleague, and she said, Jay, I know your mom. Stand there, I'll take a picture of you and send to her. Well, Jay did not just stand by his display. He full on, did a spread out and struck a pose there. Jay has always been a kid that is comfortable in front of a room. He's comfortable with the mic in his hand. He's comfortable on stage. Ever since he was a kid, people have said, he's kind of an old soul. Here's a couple pictures of Jay and one of his best buddies, Jackson. Years ago, they retrieved golf balls out of ponds while they were golfing, would clean them up, do some Google research, decide which ones could earn them a little more money, and sell them at lemonade stands, at the street corner, on the golf course, or even once we paid for a booth at the Waterloo Farmers Market. 2018, I was invited to be a speaker for the local university's entrepreneurial club. And I thought, I could give it a shot. But you know who's more of an entrepreneur? My son, Jay. Jay can not only talk to this wall, he can probably sell to it too. And I talked about my business, Follow Your Strengths, a little bit, shared some things that had worked or not worked, some things I'd learned along the way for me. But Jay brought the house down. He talked with the students and shared, golf balls with them that he had cleaned. We put in little egg cartons. And afterwards, we met his dad for pizza. And he said, how'd mom do, Jay? And he said, pretty good. A little boring, though. So Jay is just one of those kids I know has some strengths of being in front and talking. And I, as his mom and a strengths coach, try to add a little fuel to that fire and give him more and more of those opportunities. On the flip side, our son Casey is 10 now and in 5th grade. Casey would probably scoot a little bit behind my leg if an adult he didn't know very well asked him, what he does for fun or what his hobbies are. He's a bit more reserved, but Casey has always been orderly, organized, has a system and a process and a routine for the things that he does in life. In fact, that strength earned him the role of being in charge of organizing our shoe rack ever since he was probably about 5 or 6 years old. You can see here one of my favorite pictures ever of him. He's in the bleachers with his dinosaurs nicely arranged in a line and in an order. Try not to get choked up, but I do have a picture that was taken last week of about 50 dinosaurs in our toy room in 2 separate rows. that I'll probably post and share to see if there are nonprofits or dinosaur lovers that are ready to take the reins with Casey's Dinosaurs. The second picture is him when he took naps. Happened to bed in his underwear, take a nap, and right when he got out, his clothes were right in a nice line and in order. He could just slide back in. It almost looks like, when people outline a body. But I certainly didn't teach him that. That's not in my wheelhouse organization, but he's just kind of always had that thing. So I'm going to take a pause. All right. I enjoy talking about my kids. I don't share with them in every training session or leadership discussion that I do. But what does this mean for you? Who cares, essentially? Well, our boys, Jay and Casey, were both, made by the same parents. They've both been raised in the same home in Waterloo, Iowa. They both have kind of hung around the same adults, the same friends, same family members. They both went to the same preschool and elementary school, even had some of the same teachers, right? I just gave you a couple quick examples of how very, very different our two boys are. If we don't expect kids to be the same, then why would we ever expect two leaders on a team to be the same, two leaders in a division to be the same, or leaders in different industries or different organizations? So the idea of expecting leaders to be cut from the same cloth or deliver trust, compassion, stability, and hope, I'm going to suggest is about as ridiculous as expecting your kids to behave the same, act the same, and like the same kids. All right. Now, Krista mentioned I use Gallup's tools. One is called the Clifton Strengths Assessment, formerly known as StrengthsFinder. To date, I've trained about 5,000 people on their strengths, and to date, over 30 million people have taken this assessment. And now they've got all different forms, a sales version, a leadership version, a manager version. Pretty cool tools out there. You don't ever have to hear this word again, take the assessment or care about it. The reason that I do share this is the background of how this was created is pretty fascinating. In that Gallup did millions, with an M, of interviews of people, and not just people, but people who were the best at what they did. People who, for example, Marriott was a big client of Gallup. So they would say, who are your best front desk workers? Who are your best housekeepers? We want to talk to the best. And after talking with people in healthcare, in education, in professional athletics, and in the travel and tourism industry, amongst many others, they found all of these different qualities and characteristics of the best. And just like they did with those 4 needs of followers, they weren't able to get it to 4, but they got it to 34. And so these 34 talents, or if you will, strengths, are what Gallup has identified as the qualities that make people great. So I love this assessment because it wasn't somebody just saying, I want to get rich and make a leadership assessment. And it wasn't somebody saying, I want to study all of the qualities of people. No, it was an organization saying, we're going to talk to millions of the best, right? People like Deb, Dana, Heather, and Jamie. So one statistic I will share is if you were to take this assessment, the odds that you and somebody else had the same top 5 strengths in the same order are 1 in 34 million. Now, what about the same top 5 strengths in a different order? 1 in 276,000. The point being, just as my boys are very unique, we are all very unique. And that's what makes us awesome. So if you think about your role as leaders in delivering on those needs of trust, compassion, stability, and hope, get there in your own way, right? Some people get to caring by being analytical and logical and calm. And some people get to caring and compassion through having great empathy. But just like they say, you do you, it can apply in being an excellent leader as well. All right. The last thing I want to leave you with is back to our theme of 4. And you can take a screenshot of this or just jot it down if you want. If you look forward between now and the end of the year, it's about 10 days, right? What are 4 things that you're looking forward to? You notice I didn't say things that you have to do, but 4 things that you're really looking forward to. So being a facilitator and instructor, I never ask people to do things that I haven't done myself. And I came up with 4 quick ones for me. 1, I want to learn how to keep score in pickleball. I took a class in October on how to play pickleball. I got a racket last Christmas. It's embarrassing, a pickleball. But I'm too nervous to jump in the loop and play with people because I don't know how to keep score. Who's going to teach me? My son's freshman high school friends. I'm sure that's on their list of 4 things too. They don't know it, but they'll be doing that. I also want to go to a movie. There's nothing like being in the movie theater in the winter during this time, and obviously there's nothing like movie theater popcorn. Somehow, one of my closest friends talked me into buying a Ninja Creamy off of her. She was about to take it back to a store to return, but was past the expiration date. So apparently she didn't need it, but I did, and it helps you make smoothies and ice cream, and it's been in the box since July. So I'm going to find time for that. And the last thing for me is to truly just be present, have fun, and not be stressed out with my family and in-laws. It takes me back to Christmas in 2021. We hosted my father-in-law and his sister, Aunt Sue, and the cousins, and had a great Christmas at our house. And we didn't know that just 5 or 6 weeks later, my father-in-law would suddenly and surprisingly pass away. So I don't share that to be dramatic or sad at the end of talking, but just getting back to that theme of time, right? We do never know. And so when you look at year end and all of the things on your have to do list, make some room for some things that you want to do too. And then the last thing, as you reflect back on 2023, what are 4 of your top highlights? Where did you just kind of play? Like you showed up and knocked it out of the park. What were some things personally, professionally that you did and they went really, really well? I'll just share one for me. I finally hired a book writing coach. I found this awesome coach in Boulder, Colorado, and hired her in October to help me write a book on how people journeying through a cancer battle would use their strengths in that walk. If kids are different and leaders can be different and team members can be different, then certainly people facing a cancer diagnosis like I did with breast cancer 6 years ago can do it differently as well. So that was a win for me, and I challenge you to think about some of those great wins that you and your teams have had in 2023. And lastly, just want to leave you with a brief quote from Dr. Donald Clifton, the former CEO of the Gallup organization, father of strengths-based psychology, and the inventor of the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And Don said, "A leader needs to know her strengths as a carpenter knows her tools, or as a physician knows the instruments at her disposal. What great leaders have in common is that each truly know their strengths and can call on the right strength at the right time." Thanks again for having me.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Malero, CEO of the VGM Group, and I am thrilled to be here live at our 8th annual HME Woman of the Year Award ceremony. This award was created 8 years ago to ensure that the great accomplishments of women in our industry are being recognized and celebrated. It's my great honor to recognize our 4 very impressive Woman of the Year finalists. Let's begin with Deb Holman, Heart Medical. One of Deb's most notable achievements is the pivotal role she played in uniting Michigan Health System DMEs, co-creating Heart Medical, where she now serves as Chief Compliance Officer. Throughout her career spanning 35 years, she developed a deep admiration among her peers for her unwavering dedication, profound experience, and exceptional leadership in the HME industry.
Next up, we have Dana McLaughlin of Medical Service Company. Dana serves as president of Medical Service Company. She has also served as their chief financial officer and as a certified managerial accountant. Her financial acumen has been a great asset in the company's dramatic growth. Her largest passion is serving others, and she has been a strong promoter of women in HME. She believes healthcare leadership has the power to impact humanity at our most vulnerable state. And this influence, combined with empathy and a strong motivation to lead, defines Dana's leadership style.
Our third finalist is Jamie Tharp of Choice Medical. Jamie is a nationally certified durable medical equipment specialist with over 16 years experience in the industry. With her broad knowledge of the industry, she has established herself as the go-to person with Choice Medical. If you ask her coworkers, neither Choice Medical nor our HME industry would be the same without Jamie's leadership.
And last, but certainly not least, we have Heather Yee of Brightree. Heather began her career with an HME provider prior to joining Brightree, where she now serves as Vice President of Customer Success. She is the key leader at Brightree as the voice of the customer, which, as you all know, represents a large portion of our industry. Today, Heather's contributions to her organization, the industry, and the patients we serve are all immeasurable.
Well, here we go. The winner of our 2023 HME Woman of the Year Award is Dana McLaughlin of Medical Service Company.
Yay!
Congratulations, Dana.
Thank you.
How exciting. How do you feel right now?
Whew, I'm amazed. Thank you for this recognition. It is an absolute honor to be here, just to be recognized with my fellow nominees, Deb, Jamie, Heather. I think you all are rock stars. We're doing this together, girls. Lindy, I want to say congratulations to you. This is my 28th year in the HME industry, and it's no secret HME is not a glamorous industry. It's not something that inherently attracts women to the industry, but I think the impact that we get to have in the lives of the people that we serve is what the draw is, and we've heard about a lot of that today. It's allowing patients to stay at home with their family and their loved ones. We get to have the privilege of the products and services that we deliver, allowing them to breathe better, sleep a little bit better, gain their mobility, and most importantly, retain their dignity. And it's all in the private home with friends and family and their loved ones. I cannot thank you enough. Mike, Lindy, Krista, this is a wonderful event that you've put together.
Very well said, Dana, and I commend you on the impact and the reach you've had on taking care of so many people. And also importantly, I want to mention being a great role model for all people across our business, especially women leaders. So I want to ask you just a couple questions. We just heard from Tracy McCausland talking about strength-based leadership. And you've been extremely successful. As you reflect on your own success, what is a strength that you have that you think has really helped you be successful?
For years, I burned the midnight oil, and I tried to pour myself into the mold. What did I think others expected of me? And at some point, I have to say, maybe it's age, wisdom, something tricked in me. Be myself. And that's the best way. And that is the biggest piece of advice I can give to any fellow woman in any industry. I don't care if you're male, female, is get in touch with your true authentic self, express the real you, do what makes you happy, and the rest just happens. And that is true success. This industry brings a great opportunity again for us to close our laptops at the end of every day, walk out of our offices, get in our cars, and know that we may not have accomplished what we wanted to that day, but darn it, we've helped people. And what better success can you have? And that is a strength you can draw upon to make you get up and do it all over again the next day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know we have a lot of young women leaders in BGM and across our customer base that, love that advice, be authentic, find yourself, find your voice. What can you tell them to just get that extra push to overcome whatever barrier is keeping them from getting to that aspirational place?
It's about confidence. I think you have to figure out, just have a heart to heart with yourself and ask yourself, what's holding me back? Is it just some little voice in your head, or is it an influence, an outside influence? A lot of us have childhood experiences that may shape who we are or how we react, how we're responding. Triggers, we all have triggers, and get to acknowledge those triggers and keep yourself in check. I mean, for me, advice I give my kids, I have 2 boys, and I've always told them, stop, pause, breathe. We heard that a little bit today. And look up at the sky. Find something in nature to appreciate, and let that be your strength. We've got a lot of beauty around us, and I think we get very hectic in life, and we don't stop and smell the roses for just a few minutes. So again, it's just about, we all have it in us. We all have that inner strength. And it's real and bad. It's confidence, and you've got the confidence. We've got this.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Dana, congratulations. You're awesome. You're a great role model. You're just aspirational for all of us here, and proud of you, and congratulations. Have a phenomenal holiday season and a great 2024.
Thank you. Here's to a happy, healthy, prosperous HME industry 2024 and MSC team. I love you all. We got a great group of people. VGM, I love you all. I think you're a wonderful organization, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Well, congratulations to Dana and to all of our finalists. Thank you for your leadership and everything you do to affect change and make a difference in our industry. And thanks to all of you for joining our virtual event this afternoon. There are so many more women to recognize in HME. So when the call comes to nominate a deserving leader for the 2024 HME Woman of the Year, I encourage you to share their story. Thank you again, and congratulations to Dana and all of our finalists. Everyone, please have a wonderful afternoon and a happy holiday.